Hello, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Scaling Brokerage Podcast. Today, Denise has been kind enough to bless us some of her time, share with us some of her experiences in real estate and as a broker. So please, Denise, I'll let you take the floor. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your business there.
Well, I started real estate in the investment side around 10 years ago. And I liked it so much that I started branching out to help others in the investment side of things. And then I became a sales agent, of course. Things progressed from there. And, you know, when I started real estate, I had a plan. I had a plan laid out. I would become a real estate sales agent, and within 4 years, I would become a broker and have my own firm. And then I've just moved forward and progressed from there. Within 4 years, I had my broker's license. And then after that, I became my own principal broker of my own firm. So it was definitely something I've always looked forward to doing. And I look forward to helping others as well. And I wanted to pass that on to the other agents and I don't know.
that's really wonderful, and that's glad to hear. That we're still looking to give back to our agents. I mean, I know sometimes when we get to that that kind of the top, we can kind of take more of that backseat role. Certainly you're still very active with agents and still helping them as they go along. That's awesome. That's wonderful.
Right.
Nice. So, well, tell us a little bit about when did you get started, take us a little deeper, I should say, into when you got started. What was kind of that first step into being a brokerage owner?
Broker. Okay. All right. So, well, my decision, I became a broker when COVID hit in 2020. And at that time, I was on a large real estate firm, and I kind of sat tight for about a year just to make sure that, things didn't change with everything going on in the world. And so it was a scary time. And so I took it and sat back for about a year. And then at that point, I realized it was either now or never.
Yeah.
I either move forward or I stay put. So then I took the next step of opening up my own brokerage, and I'm thankful I did. It was the greatest move. A lot of agents are scared to go out on their own, and a lot of agents tend to branch off of large brokerages. And it's the big aura around the huge name. They're
absolutely.
If they don't have that huge presence and the huge name behind them, then they're not going to succeed in real estate. And that's not necessarily true. It's how you treat people, the people that remember you and pass your information on to others. It's how you treat people. And that was my main thing. Customer service has always been a priority of mine. And as long as you're treating your customers right and they end the transaction happy, then your name is going to be out there. They're going to recommend you to others. So it's not so much, I think all of us are kept in this box.
Yeah.
And we're so fearful of the unknowns. And we want to stay where we know things are going to stay the same. Or we have somebody that's over us that can protect us if something were to go wrong. And so that kind of keeps you closed off to other avenues of progressing. And so I try to think outside of the box.
Yeah.
And it's helped me every step of the way. And what's the worst that can happen? Brokerage doesn't work, and you just go back under a large firm.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and sometimes when the worst case scenario is us ending up back where maybe we are currently. That's not that bad of a worst case scenario.
Worst case scenario, you get jail time, but but let's hope you are ethical.
I was going to say ethically the worst case scenario.
So I think a lot of people like to stay in that comfort zone.
Yeah.
In order to be a broker and open your own firm, you have to get outside of that comfort zone, or you'll never be on your own.
Yeah.
You'll always be under the additional supervision. And a lot of people they branch off as a franchise off of larger brokerages because they have that additional support, additional leverage. But a lot of times that's not what the public's looking for. They're looking for the personal touch. They're looking for the person that cares. It's just one of those things where I found the name is the name. Obviously, as a broker and having your own firm, you need to get your name out there. You need to get your name out on social media, and you want people to pass on your information as well. And so you have to take those steps for sure to get your name out there. Marketing, all the social media sites.
Oh yeah.
Put your business out there. Advertise every once in a while on Facebook and Instagram and things like that. Just to kind of get your business out there. Make sure you're on Google Business.
Oh yeah, no, hey, that is the biggest one I think now.
Yeah, that's important too. And with everything last year, well, actually, 2024, with the lawsuit with NAR and things like that sort, and all the changes in real estate, a lot of agents have hung up their license, just out of fear and the change in the market and things slowing down quite a bit because nobody knew what was going on. It was kind of crazy moment. And I think we all have had to navigate and shift with what has been going on in the media. And I think it's been tough for a lot of people, but in real estate, you're always going to have to shift. There's always ups and downs.
Absolutely.
If you don't pivot and you want to stay in the same place, then Lord help you. That's what I say. You got to have the mindset of change. You've got to make the change with the public. And one of the changes that I made as a broker and with my firm is I started developing my own real estate forms rather than using our association forms.
Oh, that had to be quite a bit of work.
Yeah, it is. It is, but I was able to develop it very similar in style so that it didn't, go off the deep end for the state and the state requirements. And so I worked along with a lawyer and I developed what I wanted to develop, and he just oversaw the forms and gave some input and insight as to what clauses, what wording. Which was very helpful. Yes, it was expensive, but it was worth it because now my firm has their own individual forms and it's not based on the association and the association forms.
Yeah.
And
that's awesome.
Yeah, it still protects the consumer. And that's one of my things with shifting with everything going on. I felt like as a firm and as a brokerage, I needed to branch outside of the box once again and pivot. And if, like I said, if you're not pivoting, you're not doing well in real estate.
Absolutely. No, and the market's always evolving. I mean, from year to year, being up and down, just in, maybe numbers alone. But, things happening outside of the market, things like, natural disasters happening as well. Like, speaking of which, hope everyone in California is, doing all right. But yeah, things like that can, really drive different areas up, drive different areas down. And so you never know where we need to pivot, maybe, spread our wings and kind of go into maybe a neighboring market, things like that as well. So yeah, it's always good to have an open mind when you're in real estate, on the agent side, on the brokerage side, either one.
Right, definitely. And just, if I could give any word of advice, don't be afraid of making that change.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, it doesn't work out. You can change it back. You don't know unless you try. And that's one of the things that I would recommend as a broker and starting off with a firm. Another thing I would recommend is start small. Don't put all your money in advertising. And as far as that goes, start small and build on top of that. Because I noticed that a lot of times brokerages that branch off on their own, if they start large, then it becomes a problem when things change in the market. and a lot
Yeah.
of brokerages have to close. So it's either the smaller brokerages that make it, or the really large brokerages. The ones in between, they tend to disappear because
Yeah.
of the level of expenses they have
Yeah, all the overhead. Yeah.
for their brokerage. So yeah, start small. And if you have a customer base and you're great with your clients, the referrals work. They
Oh,
really
yeah.
work. Between that and social media, it really works in your best interest in making sure you're out there on Google Business. Yelp
Oh, yeah.
is another good one to be on, as a firm. And I mean, if I could give any advice, that would be it. Start small and then scale your business. When I made the change to change the firm's forms from the association forms, I had to make sure that the agents that were under my brokerage were on board for pulling out of the associations, because as a broker, if you're not part of the associations, your agents can't be part of the associations.
Yeah.
And it's a huge deal, but I look at it like this. A lot of that information that you do get from the associations, it's all free information online.
Yeah. No, that is true.
Right. It's out there. And so what's worse that could happen pulling out of, it's everybody's choice whether they want to be part of the association or not. But I felt like as a brokerage, I needed to pivot and change a little bit for the clientele. And so the agents that work under me, they were all on board because they felt like the change was needed.
Yeah.
So they were not worried about having the realtor status.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
It was just, and half of the public, they don't know what a realtor is versus a real estate agent. They have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it seems like a synonym for one another, right?
Yeah. So I mean, it's really, if you are running your own business, you're going to be ethical anyway, especially if you want your business to thrive.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to look out for your best interest. You're going to look out for your customer's best interest, because that's what makes your business grow. And agents are happy. Can't be happier. We're all doing well.
That's awesome. And I know we touched on quite a bit there. I'm going to touch a little bit on marketing and lead gen, like recruiting.
Sure.
Do you guys do anything? Do you have any stories of recruiting that, maybe had some success in?
Well, social media posting,
Yeah.
put yourself out there. My agents came, one of the agents that came under my brokerage, she actually worked with me at a different firm, and she was the admin, and she became an agent, and we got along well together prior to me moving out to my own brokerage. So
Gotcha.
she came on board right away. No questions asked, and she couldn't be happier. And then the other agents that have come on board, believe it or not, were family members of past clients.
Oh, nice. That's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah, they were so impressed by, how I treated their
Yeah.
family member.
Yeah, how well we took care of them, right?
Right. That they were so intrigued that they got their license and they came on board as well. And then they referred me to another agent, which is an associate broker, who felt the same way as far as the principles and where we were headed as a brokerage. And so he came on board as well. So it's one of those things where you've got, as long as you're moving in the right direction with people, there's always going to be a way to recruit.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, and that's a great point to make too. We never know when we build that bridge, making just even a sale, and not even on the recruiting side, but just building that bridge. We never know who's gonna come across that. I know I mentioned it a few times on the podcast.
Right.
But that's definitely something that keeping those bridges up and keeping them nurturing them a little bit, talking to them throughout the year, wishing them happy birthday, Merry Christmas, things like that. You can go a long way. You never know who's kids going to end up being a realtor in the future, and they maybe are looking for a brokerage then, and you might be the only one they know about. because of how well we've taken care of them and the family over the years. So that's awesome, and that's a great point to make. I don't think a lot of people have been able to make that that build that long-term relationship far enough to have their kids, friends, I'm sure as well join on that. That's awesome. That's really awesome.
Yeah, and another thing I did as a brokerage was I set up a website that had a back-end CRM, very similar to the larger brokerages.
Yeah,
very similar. And yes, there's money up front, but it's worth it in the end because the back-end CRM, it provides that drip campaign.
Oh yeah.
You're constantly nurturing your past clients and future clients, and people, the public can actually reach out to you directly through your website, and that worked out well too. That's constantly feeding to the clients, and they touch base with me every once in a while, and so it kind of keeps the connection going along with social media.
Absolutely. No, and that is a great combination of staying in front of the agent, staying in front of our potential prospect, things like that, without maybe being too overbearing, and the cold calling and cold text might be a little much for some of us, so that could definitely be a good way to stay in front of them and stay in their mind for maybe when things aren't slow down, or maybe things aren't going so well, and they know they have those other options like yourself. So that's awesome.
Yeah, the younger generation, definitely cold calling is out for the younger generation. It's all electronic nowadays. So
and working the phones is one of the best ways as an agent, that we can find deals, facilitate deals, help refer things out.
Right.
That's the best way that we can do is being on the phone, being active, and getting in front of prospects.
Right.
Obviously paired with social media, other things to kind of on the back end that can help save us some time too. But yeah, definitely the phones are still, I know cold calling is definitely not as much of a integral part anymore. But yeah, agents working the phones is still huge. So we know they're on the phones, but the cold calling can be a little much, a little overbearing in most cases.
Right. Well, networking too.
Yeah.
I would encourage agents that want to open their own firm and have their own brokerage. Networking is important. It's huge. Go out to lunch with somebody. Make sure that you're present and you're having a good time at being present, but you're still networking in the process, and it works out well for you because
absolutely,
you're building that rapport, and you're also getting to have fun in the process.
Oh yeah, and I've heard the quote a few times on the podcast. Our network is our net worth. It definitely is true in in real estate. It couldn't be, I don't think, any more true in real estate.
Right.
That's awesome. I love it. And then going off of that, do you have any quotes? I like to ask anyone that comes on, any quotes, anything that you like to think back to maybe when things are going good or bad, that you like to share with the viewers?
Well, my motto for the business is a passion for property.
I like that.
Yeah, and it's because I've always had a passion for property, and that follows through with your everyday work environment and how you put yourself in front of others. If you're passionate about what you do, it shows, and others grab onto that, and they are confident in moving forward with you as their agent or broker. I end up sending out little pins with messages on them. I don't know if I have one right here or not. But I'll get pins made. Like, I don't know if you can see this or not.
Oh yeah, I can see it.
Live in the moment, all different phrases. And I'll put them on my agent's desk just to kind of give them a little pep talk, remind them that, positive vibes. So, as a real estate agent back when I was under large brokerage, the biggest thing that bothered me about the managing broker was the negativity, all the negative meetings. Instead of having positive discussions, your time is valuable. You're sitting in a meeting that is nothing but negative, what you did wrong, what you're not doing right.
Yeah.
And that was another thing that fueled my fire to move on my own, because I didn't quite you know, enjoy sitting there for an hour with somebody. It's just,
I can understand.
and I'm like, why am I sitting here for an hour? None of my paperwork came across your desk. Why do I need to hear this?
Yeah, no, hey, absolutely, no, I understand, especially when we're not at that, in that role. Yeah, why is it getting pushed over to us? I understand you there.
Yes, you want to conduct business accordingly,
Yeah.
and yes, sometimes you have to be serious. You have to get serious about some things, but it doesn't always have to come across as a negative situation. There's ways to put a positive spin on it without bringing your agents down.
No, absolutely. And no, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Well, and also Karen, sorry, Denise, I apologize. I wanted to let you know, where can the people find you? I apologize. I don't think I asked where you're based out of, territorial in the United States before, but then, social medias and things like that, where can they find you?
Right. Well, I am in Mechanicsville, Virginia. My firm is in Mechanicsville, Virginia, and then I have a branch office in Whitestone, Virginia. And I operate both. I go half a week at the Mechanicsville office, and I'm a half a week at the Whitestone office operating that as well, near the water.
Oh, hey, that's awesome. That's awesome. And then would you guys have any social medias, anything we can link down below if they're looking to get in touch and they want to, maybe talk about something we shared here on the podcast, or they're interested in learning more about your business? Where can they get in touch with you? Where can they find you?
They can find me on Facebook under Passion for Property Real Estate, or they can go to my website at www.apassionforpropertyrealestate.com, and they can reach out that way.
Wonderful, guys. You heard it here. If you guys are local to Denise, or maybe looking to get in move into her market as well, feel free to reach out. We'll have everything linked down below in the comments. But a huge thank you again to Denise for coming out and spending some time with us here today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.